This week on Bohica's War Thunder Favorites, we will be taking out the LaGG-3. First off, we're going to go through the loadout. I used the 20mm with the ground target belts. I find those usually work the best for the Shavot cannons. And then I like to use the air target belt for the Russian 50, 12.7mm. I'm going to take 30 minutes of gas because this is a big map. We're on Korea, and if I get a fuel leak or if the battle lasts longer, I'll be able to get back home. This is the same map that's used for jets in Tier 5 and beginner planes in Tier 1, so interesting. The reason why I picked this plane, I was actually going to do a video on it before 1.43 rolled around, and I never got to it because I became busy with all the other patches and some family stuff came up, so now I'm back kind of on track, and this is going to be a video geared more towards the beginner players so that they can hopefully learn some stuff and learn the way I did, because this is the plane that I learned how to fly RB in when I took RB more serious, trying to make that transition from arcade to RB. And this is a plane that, if you want to become a better pilot, you will play some rounds in this plane. And this plane's going to directly relate to learning how to use a plane that uses, two guns in the center nose. It has the same, I like to compare it to flight characteristics of a BF-109, the later LA-5, LA-7s, LA-9s, and your 109 variants, and the P-51 Mustang are all skills that can relate to this early tier plane. What I mean by that is that this plane is going to be strictly a energy-based boom and zoom fighter that, how do I put it, it's a little, the LaGGs were horrible aircraft in real life, and so this is a 1941 to 1943 aircraft that is facing 1939 to 1940 stuff typically. A little Russian under tier, but this was a horrible aircraft in real life, and you can really learn a lot from it, I think, in War Thunder, and it's forgiving enough where it will, if a new player makes a mistake, you're not dead. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to climb. I'm trying to keep the speed between about 12 to 17 degree climb. Trying to keep that speed between 160 170 mph. That seems to be a pretty decent rate of climb. I know that when you shoot straight into a map, you're getting instant gratification by killing the first guy from the other team who shoots to the center of the map. But you get 1 or 2 kills, or you get swamped and then you die, and you don't, you might get your instant gratification, but you've done next to nothing for the team, and that doesn't make you a good pilot. Spend the extra 5 to 15 minutes, depending on what you're doing, to climb. In this case, I'm climbing straight in. And when I get to about 12 to 15,000 feet, that way, if there's any Hellcats or anything up there, I'm at their altitude, I can dive away, I can be defensive, and so on. I can spot for my team. You do so much more when you have altitude. And I'm not saying you need this altitude, it's just always better to have more altitude to burn. Especially when you're going to transfer that to energy. So we're going to do our little climbing, and I'm going to try to talk a little bit more about the history of this plane. And then we'll get into tactics, and hopefully that's some of the newer players that are struggling. I get comments all the time asking me how do you do this, or how you do that. Well, I learned it all from this plane, so just watch and learn. Try to absorb as much as you can. I'm not the perfect pilot, but I think I'm efficient enough, and this plane helped me get there. So the LaGG-3, why I say it's a turbo aircraft, is it's mostly made out of wood, and the engine's underpowered, so it was a very big, heavy airframe with an underpowered engine. And the production of this thing, if you look at it from the story as I read, was that there wasn't very good production. The engines were not always synchronized correctly, and some other features on it were not always done correctly, and so when they came to the front line, they were usually sometimes underpowered. Some of them were not even airworthy when they were delivered. And this plane can't make, it wasn't liked by its pilots. It's actually nicknamed a tarnished coffin because of its wooden airframe and it being painted. The good news, though, is that it was actually somewhat durable, because the wood, when it was hit by high explosive or incinerated rounds, it wouldn't actually burn. It would just, bust apart. It wasn't like metal that sheared apart and snapped apart. It just kind of, I don't know how you could, when you hit a tree with a bullet, it doesn't, chunks of it fly off, but for the most part, the tree is still structurally sound. So, here we go. Got a guy underneath us. We're going to keep pushing forward here and look for the enemy. Like I said, there could be Hellcats at this battle rating, and that's going to be our biggest fear. But I haven't seen anything yet. We're going to be patient. At least want to fly over kind of the middle of the map onto their side to make sure there's nobody up here before I dive down and assist with the guys on the ground. Like I said, this is just a security thing. It's to give yourself the best advantage. And a Hellcat crashed, so that's always helpful, I guess. And LA5 shot down the P400, so the battle is officially on, I guess. But we're gonna still hold up here because I promised you that the high altitude will pay off for us. And I'm trying to find any dots. I think I see something. Hold on, let me see. I get my nose on it. Yeah, I see something over there. That's probably a PBY. If I had to put money on it, something big and lumbering coming across the map. So let's intercept that. I expect this is going to be an easy kill, whatever it is. So I'm gonna. Yeah, it's Wellington. Jesus, this is gonna be bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and descend a bit. I'm gonna probably cut back my engines here to keep it cool. I don't need to burn this engine up. And we'll just kind of glide in. I don't want to zoom past this guy at 300 miles an hour and just miss. When you attack bombers, usually the low or the front is the optimal position, but that's not always how things work out. I'm going to see if I can hit this engine here. And I got a gunner. Brown. Well, it looks like I did his engine, so. Alright, so now I'm behind him. I don't have a lot of energy. So we're going to go with the new game plan of I'm going to get low and fast, and I'm going to try to prop up underneath him. Reason why oh shit, there's a Spitfire. So he's going to have help soon. Reason why I like to come in from the lower side is the player camera, when he's trying to shoot me like this, the Wellington's actually in the way of the camera, so it gives me a little advantage. I'm not too worried about 03s. Here we go. Easy kill. Spitfire time. And this LAGG-3, we don't want a churn fight. I'll try to demonstrate why a little bit, but here we go. I'm going to avoid the head-on by going underneath him. And I'm going to try to do a little scissor here, but I'm going to instantly regret it. Look how fast he's already back on me. So I'm going to dive. This plane in the game with the current flight model, which has been like the same flight model since 1.29, allows it to go right there. We're already past its how fast to go in real life. 433. I'm not going to go any faster. This thing accelerates like a rocket. And if you can find that balance of how fast you can go without killing yourself, you can get away from anything at this tier. That's one of the secrets I learned about this plane early on, was when you get in trouble, you just dive away. And that little Spitfire would have busted into a million pieces if you tried that. Oh, alright, see, I cannot, this is not a turn fighter. This is why I said it's an energy fighter. So let's get, yeah, he's going to kill me if I keep messing around. So, like I said, dogfighting bad, or turn fighting bad, defensive flying, we're just going to dive away. And we're gonna become an energy fighter. There's a Spitfire right there. The I-16 is all over. The I-16 just critted him. It looks like that Spitfire may go down, so I'm gonna leave it. I don't want to kill steal. And the Spitfire looks like he recovered, so never mind. You know, I try to set a good example by letting that guy get a kill, and the Spitfire's flying off. Let's go up. Let's get that energy back into a little bit of altitude and facing the correct direction. Get back on that. Alright, looks like that Spitfire is going to try and limp on the way home. He might crash, he might not crash. I don't want him to get all the way back to repair. So I'm going to put a little burst into him. Alright, lost tail control, that's perfect. So, I don't think he's going to get back with a bad engine and a bad tail. There we go, perfect. Alright, he got the kill, I got the assist. Happy, perfect. Everything worked well this time. Usually it doesn't in this game. Alright, so we got a decision to make. We can... Oh god, there's a rape train on the left, and there's a Spitfire pilot that seems somewhat competent in front of me. I think I'm going to try and help this guy with the... Look at that Typhoon pew-pews. Alright, so hopefully this guy rolls to the right. He rolls to the left, so I can't help. I'm not going to turn because that would either put me in the ground or I break a wing. So we're going to go back up. Hopefully that guy can make it a little longer. And he's critically damaged, but still we're going to see what we can do. Now we're coming in from a much better angle. This is energy fighting 101 right here. Easy kill. I can't get the Hawk. I'm not going to commit. I'm just going to go back upstairs. And that Spitfire may try to join me upstairs, but I have faith in this thing's abilities to get me out of here. Those are just little Spitfire Mark 1s, so I'm not going to worry about them. Alright, let's roll. And I'm going to try to get underneath this guy and make a run back in there. Alright, let's go get that Hellcat. That is the big dog in this battle that I don't want to see around. He's probably going to try and go head on. I'm not going to take it. He's hurt. Hopefully he'll crash. I don't want to deal with that thing. Alright. My team has seemed to have gone back to base, and I need to somewhat get their direction. There's a P-36 heading towards me? I guess he's trying to avoid the head-on. This is when you try to avoid head-ons, don't go up, go down. Because that was a freebie. That was, yeah. Like I said, I like to churn, like you see me doing this video where I churn and I dive underneath the things. It's harder for a pilot to push the nose down to try to... It's harder for the pilot to push the nose down and get a deflection shot that way than it is to pull up like I just did there and kill it. It's either to roll left and down or right and down or down and down. Just keep it, you know, whatever works, but never pull up to try to avoid a head-on. That's bad. Very bad for your health. And the Spitfire that I said is competent has seemed to have followed me here, and I'm going to initiate some kind of little short-range boom and zoom attacks here. He turned underneath me. Good for him. That is how you defend against a boom and zoom attack. So it looks like we're going to have a fight here. If you want to win these fights in your games, you just have to be patient. His backup has went back to base. My backup has went to the base. This is a one-on-one fight. I have the energy, I have the speed, I have the better aircraft. It's just up to me to make the right decision. So I'm going to come up here and roll over and see if I can get a better angle on him this time. If the shot looks bad, don't take it. I can't stress that enough. If everything looks... There we go, come on. Alright, I critted his wing. Even though he's critted, I'm going to still turn away and go back upstairs. Just because he has damage to his wing doesn't mean his guns don't work. Oh wow, he's kind of trolling there. Yeah, it looks like he recovered. So, like I said, just put yourself in situations where you have the advantage and you have, you know, safety. This is up here, I'm safe. Down there at his altitude, I'm in danger. If I don't have airspeed and altitude of that Spitfire is the better plane, hands down. It looks like they have 3 left. I have 3 left. So this is a 3-on-3 match now. So there's 2 Spitfires, and I don't know what the hell the third thing is. But let's see if we can catch this guy from behind and eliminate the last Spitfire. Or there'll be this Spitfire and then the last Spitfire. I went back to base. Looks like he's going to try to churn up, and with a bad wing, this may not work for him. Let's see if I can't get my nose quite on target, so we're going to go up again. He's going to turn underneath me. I'm just going to let my plane go up and stall, roll over, I'm going to come right back down on him. Just like I said, just setting myself up at a high position behind him. And this is textbook. This is perfect. Alright, he's that easy. Alright, back to base. Let's get some ammo and some gas for this bad boy. So back to the LaGG-3 history I was talking about. You'll see this thing with... It was actually used quite a bit in winter, because it's very cold in Russia. And you'll see pictures of this thing a lot with skis on it, which is kind of neat. Retractable skis. The last bit, though, that is known is that those inline engines did not work well in winter, and they couldn't keep the engines running all night because that's burning gas, and it's just a pain in the ass. So to keep the engines from freezing up, they just dumped hot water on them over and over and over. Just, it wasn't a good plane. I mean, besides being underpowered, being made out of wood, you know, overweight, it was in the wrong climate for it to be any success. You know, this isn't You know, if the plane was actually made out of metal and it had a decent enough engine, it looks like a pretty slick design. Just, you know, the time, it was, I think, a little too late and a little too late, a little too heavy, a little too underpowered, and wrong place. But we'll get her back to base. It works in this game because it's not winter. We don't have real life conditions in this game, so this plane can shine a bit. Looks like my last two teammates are coming back from getting repairs, which should hopefully keep that last Spitfire. I mean, I don't think he's going to zoom over here in a Spit Mark 1 to strafe me on the runway, but it's still nice to have two guys going out to kind of add as a buffer zone. Like I said, this is the plane. I mean, this thing's even in my trailer for the channel. This is what I was flying a year and a half ago. Right around 1.29, 1.31. And I haven't flown it in a while, so I'm glad to see it hasn't changed too much, and no, it's fun. It's actually a fun plane if you dedicate the time to it. I know a lot of, and I mean, I'm not trying to bash anybody, but I know a lot of guys go for the Hellcats or the Wildcats or the kind of under-tiered, overpowered planes early on, or they go for premium stuff. If you want to make yourself a better player, I can't stress enough that you need to find something like this and train yourself on it. Put in the time. Let's come over here. I'm going to drop gear, drop flaps. This is a pretty easy plane to land, especially since we have runways that are meant for jets. But I want to come in slow, keep a little power up, and just line up. I keep the landing flaps down. A lot of people ask why I do this, because I'll instantly pull up flaps as soon as I touch down. I keep the landing flaps down because it keeps me from stalling and crashing into the runway. But as soon as I touch down, I pull the flaps up because when I push the elevator down, flaps create lift. Without the flaps up, I'm stuck to the tarmac, so I don't pop up off the tarmac, if that makes any sense. Like I said, the flaps are there to keep you flying at a slow speed. Once you land on the ground, you pull them up, and you'll stick to the runway. Some of the 109s or 190s, if you actually hit the runway and then you hit the elevator up, you actually get the wheels off the ground again, tip over, and die. So this prevents that. And it's just a good habit. So a couple people asked me, how do I turn off the engine? That is default the I for Ivan key. I just do that because I don't want to hear the noise. A little peace and quiet on the runway. And we'll get her repaired and back up in the air. I do never take this plane out with rockets or bombs because you can see like I've been using it as like an interdictor energy fighter this game. Bombs and rockets will completely defeat that whole purpose, and the 20mm and the 50 cal in the nose should, as you saw, it shredded that Wellington. It'll kill Catalina. You won't be seeing any B-17s to this plane, so you have no need to carry rockets to try and kill U.S. heavy bombers or British heavy bombers. And sorry, that guy confused me in the chat. And then the 20mm nose cannon can actually destroy the light tanks on this map. I can try to tell this guy where the hell the enemy team went. Alright, so yeah, hopefully if he can run over there, maybe he can catch that Spitfire at the runway. Or just catch him below anyway. But yeah, you can use this 20mm. If you come in low from the back, you can blow up all the light tanks. And you can easily win the round this way. So if you have an American PBY or a British Wellington or something that's at high altitude that you can never find, simply use this plane to destroy the light tanks. You have 150 cannon rounds. It should take between, I think, 3 to 7 or so to blow up light tanks. So just get close, get them from the rear armor, and run attack. You don't need bombs and rockets to kill light tanks. You can do it with the front cannon. So I'm going to kind of climb here. I'm probably going to go a little faster, a little bit lower, because I need to rejoin those guys. Hard to do commentary on a map like this with this plane, because it's such a big-ass map. You know, like I fly the Sabre or the Panther, I'm across this map in a minute and a half. I fly it in this thing, and it takes 5. You know, it's just... I really wish that they come up for an early, better map for the U.S. and Russians to fight in, and I know that, you know, we were allies in World War II, but if that's how Matchmaker needs to be, can we get a little bit better map than this? Hell, the Swordfish and some of the other British planes, the Warway and the Swordfish and those little aircraft have trouble getting through the mountains sometimes with their bomb loads, so... And a PO2 is suicide in this map. But, whatever. And I also think that the easy side to say is that Russia has the advantage in this map because of, like I said, the cannons that destroy the tanks. And then Russia has all those fancy SBM-2s and SU-2s and all the decent low-tier bombers that could easily wipe out these ground forces. But the kicker is that the Russian side gets heavy tanks, while the American side gets light tanks. So even if the Americans had the ability to really ground attack, 50 cals aren't going to be splitting apart in IS-4 or whatever the hell's down there. So this map really needs some restructuring. But it's been as long as I can remember, this map has been in the RB rotation for kind of tier 1, tier 2 Russia, US forever. So just kind of pointing that out there that we just have to contend with it. We've been contending with it, and I just hope that something sooner or later, a change of scenery will come out for the lower tier planes. And they have added some new maps, and I'm not complaining, but I hate this map. I see this map way too much. Looks like that LaGG-3, he screams somebody cover him. He's not spotting what was on him, but I'm going to assume that Spitfire found him. Yep, there's Spitfire. Alright, so I guess we can dive away, or dive down. Catch this guy from behind. Like I said, there's nothing glamorous about this plane. It's just fast. It's under tiered historically, but it might be in the right spot for this game. You know, what can I say? Good armament, good energy fighter. Fortunately, I think what problem is people try to use it as a churn fighter. Like I said, you saw what that Spitfire would have done to me. But put in the time. You know, if you want to learn how to use 109s better, Mustangs, like I can't tell you how many P-51 pilots I see that just make me smash my head against the keyboard because they're trying to churn fight with Spit 22s or 109s or 190s. You need to adopt the same kind of tactic. I mean, of course, they're going to be faster and higher altitudes than what I'm doing here because of the speed and engine power, but the same concepts relate to the later tier aircraft. You just have to kind of over-exaggerate and extend the movements I'm doing. Alright, that Spitfire's trying to go head off me. I'm going to zoom up. If he continues to zoom up after me... Come up. Yeah, he's going to zoom climb for me. This is an easy kill for that LaGG-3. So I'm just going to go ahead and stall. I'm going to relax in these clouds, and I'm going to let that LaGG-3 pick this guy off. Should be an easy kill for him. Yep, there it is. Spitfire down. And the PBY, which nobody probably ever even seen, crashed on the runway, so that should be it for this game. We're going to win by ground units anyway, so... Like I said, this is goes on my favorites list, not because I love this plane in real life or anything, but that's because it just has a spot in my heart because of... It helped me learn how to fly in RB, and if you're having problems trying to learn how to fly certain stuff in RB, this might be the plane for you to take out a few times and try these tactics that I used in this game. 4 kills on a ×2 bonus for premium. You're not gonna. I mean, this is nothing to write home about. 60,000. It's a tier 2 plane. It's 60,000 Lions. Vehicle research was 3,900. The plane's fully upgraded. Modification research. You know, I'm trying to unlock a fucking IL-28 with LaGG-3. It's not gonna be great.